Music mogul Russell Simmons is accused of rape by 3 women, but he has managed to escape all accusations. What exactly happened? And how did he escape jail time? That is what we are going to talk about in this video. Mr. Simmons, an American entrepreneur, writer, and record executive in the entertainment and media worlds, damaged careers and self-confidence with his pattern of sexual assault and harassment. In the wake of the allegations, Russell Simmons sought a change of scenery and relocated to Bali, Indonesia. The first woman to accuse him was Drew Dixon. In 1995, Drew Dixon was working her dream job as an executive at Def Jam Recordings, helping to oversee a chart-topping album and a ubiquitous single by Method Man and Mary J. Blige. Ms. Dixon, then 24, was spiraling into depression because of prolonged and aggressive sexual harassment by her direct supervisor, Russell Simmons. She spoke up and said that on work calls, he would talk graphically about how she aroused him. At staff meetings, he would ask her to sit on his lap. He regularly exposed himself to her. Late that year, Ms. Dixon said that Mr. Simmons raped her in his downtown Manhattan apartment, after which she quit Def Jam. In recent interviews, 4 other women spoke on the record about a pattern of violent sexual behavior by Mr. Simmons, disclosing incidents from 1988 to 2014. 3 of the women claimed that he raped them. In each case, numerous friends and associates said they were told of the incidents at the time. The women said they were inspired to come forward in the aftermath of the accusations against Harvey Weinstein, as victims' stories have been elevated and more often believed. Mr. Simmons opened up about the rape accusations and other misconduct and said in a statement, "I vehemently deny all these allegations. These horrific accusations have shocked me to my core, and all of my relationships have been consensual." He added, "I have enormous respect for the women's movement worldwide and their struggle for respect, dignity, equality, and power." The next woman who accused Mr. Simmons was Christina Moore in 2014. Ms. Moore, who was 26 at the time, and a friend bumped into Mr. Simmons in the elevator of Soho Beach House. The women were meeting friends at a bar there but were lost, Ms. Moore said. Mr. Simmons suggested he knew where to go, so Ms. Moore and her friend followed him. He led them to his room. "I felt duped," she said. Mr. Simmons began to run a bath and then pushed her up against a column in the room. Ms. Moore said she felt hands all over her body, up and down, and she felt assaulted. He told Ms. Moore that she was a bad girl and threatened to tie her up. After hearing that, Ms. Moore and her friend bolted. The whole interaction lasted about 5 minutes, and it stayed with me. "I felt a lot of shame and guilt at ending up in that situation," she said. When reports of Mr. Simmons's alleged sexual misconduct began circulating, Ms. Moore grew more alarmed and decided to come forward. When asked about these allegations, Mr. Simmons recalled meeting Ms. Moore and her friend. He said the women followed him to his room of their own accord and asked him about getting into parties. His lawyer said running the bath was Mr. Simmons's signal to Ms. Moore and her friend to leave. He denied any misconduct. The next person to come forward was Jenny Lumet, the daughter of filmmaker Sidney Lumet and the granddaughter of singer and civil rights activist Lena Horne. She published a guest column in The Hollywood Reporter detailing a third allegation against Simmons. Lumet expressed the difficulty she faced in writing about the actions of a successful man of color and voiced her concern for the safety of all daughters, including Simmons' own. Lumet's account comes after an initial accusation reported in the Los Angeles Times, in which model Kerry Clausen-Kaligi said he made aggressive sexual advances on her in 1991, when she was 17, coerced her to have oral sex, and penetrated her in a shower without her consent. When interviewed about this incident, Simmons said, "Her recollections of that night are very different from mine, although it is now clear to me that her feelings of fear and intimidation are real. While I have never been violent, I have been thoughtless and insensitive in some of my relationships over many decades, and I sincerely apologize." Russell Simmons was also exposed by his ex-wife, Kimora Lee Simmons, and their daughter, who has come forward with allegations of harassment and threats. Kimora Lee Simmons took to Instagram to publicly accuse Russell Simmons of verbally attacking their children. She firmly stated that she would not tolerate any attacks on her kids and asserted her possession of evidence to substantiate her claims, stating that she has been collecting evidence and has more to share if necessary. Kimora pleaded for Russell Simmons to leave their family alone. Aoki Simmons, the youngest daughter, also spoke out on her Instagram page, echoing her mother's claims of being verbally abused by her father. Aoki highlighted the experiences of people close to Russell Simmons who have witnessed his aggressive outbursts, suggesting that there may be a mental health issue at play, possibly bipolar disorder. Russell Simmons also settled a lawsuit filed by Jennifer Jurasic, who accused him of sexually assaulting her after she rejected his advances. The lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice, preventing Jurasic from refiling. Finally, at the Sundance Film Festival, Kirby Dick and Amy Zierings, On the Record, a searing look at sexual harassment allegations against music mogul Russell Simmons, debuted and received 2 thunderous standing ovations. The warm reception came after the film was engulfed in a media firestorm, one sparked by Oprah Winfrey's decision to remove herself from the project as executive producer. After the Sundance premiere, HBO Max quickly swooped in and acquired the documentary. The film follows Drew Dixon, who has accused Simmons of rape and sexual harassment. Other Simmons accusers, Sil Abrams and Sherry Hines, also share their stories in the document. Booked for the Sundance Film Festival and Apple's new streaming platform, the film was primed to be the next high-profile media moment of the #MeToo era. After this, Mr. Simmons apologized for being thoughtless and insensitive and announced he was stepping down from his companies after screenwriter Jenny Lumet became the second woman to publicly accuse him of sexual assault at the time. Following allegations of misconduct against him, he made the decision to step down from his business ventures. He chose to relocate to Bali, Indonesia, a country that lacks an extradition treaty with the United States.